Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way to 2025 and review them. And now we are on to The Creature from the Pit. It's an episode. It is definitely a Doctor Who episode. Now, I jest, of course. I actually really liked this episode. I like this episode quite a bit. I wouldn't say that I love it. It's not obviously as great as the previous episode, City of Death, but it's fun. It's a fun episode. I love the setting. I love the location. I don't think, to my knowledge, any of the scenes were shot on location. I think it was mostly sets, which is fine. You know, I get it. I mean, you literally just shot an entire episode. Well, not all of it, but large chunks of it were shot on location in Paris. So I can understand why they're scaling the budget down a little bit. But as far as, the forest jungle look of the planet Chloris, it looks fine. I actually kind of enjoyed the wolf weeds. I'm not gonna lie. As ridiculous and as stupid and corny as they look and are and feel, I kinda like them. What can I say? I kinda like the idea. And I also really love the idea of the huntsman. Kinda wish he was more in the episode than he was. I think he was like mostly in just part 1 and part 4 of the episode, but yeah, he was a really interesting character, especially because of the turn that he makes throughout the episode. So yeah, I really would have loved to have known and seen more about him and learn how he learned to control the wolf weeds and so a little bit more of the wolf weed lore. Maybe that's in the novelization, I guess. Maybe I'll check that out one day. But I really liked that character. As far as the Doctor and Romana, I mean, again, it's like I said, it's a Doctor Who episode. It's definitely a generic Doctor Who episode. There's a crisis. The Doctor and Romana gets split up. There's the whole oppressor versus the oppressed mold, I guess you can call it at this point. It's just it's a reskin. I mean, it's the oppressor versus the oppressed. The Doctor and companion get separated. Just put it in the skin of a planet like Chloris with jungle, and metal is very valuable for reasons explained in the episode, which I actually did appreciate the reasoning they gave for why metal is so precious. But I didn't think, other than a few characters, not much in the episode really stood out to me. Like, the bandits were kind of meh. Lady Corella in the episode was also kind of a generic Doctor Who villain. The Lady Adrasta, I think, is the more interesting of the characters in the episode outside the Doctor and Romana, and a big part of that goes to the performance given by the actress. I think the actress did a wonderful job. I mean, I was convinced that she convinced me that she just has zero morals, no care whatsoever to her people, like the complete and self-obsessed selfishness of that woman, and it was brought to life beautifully by the actress, which I'm apologizing at the moment because I don't remember her name, but she was really, really good. She was one of the better villain performances in... I mean, obviously, you're not going to follow up Julian Glover from last week's episode, but she's one of the better villain performances in the Fourth Doctor era, in my opinion, and having watched all of it multiple times. So, yeah, that was a standout for me for the episode. I also really kind of like the character of Organon, I believe his name is, the Jeffrey Baildon. I remember his name because he also played the Doctor on Big Finish on the Unbound series. So yeah, you basically kind of had two Doctors in this episode in a way, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I liked him, but I don't think, his character was fleshed out well enough. And I don't think the planet Chloris was fleshed out quite as much as they would have wanted. I mean, I don't know. we didn't really get to see too much of the planet, and in typical Doctor Who fashion, we learned that there's way more to explore with this planet through conversations between some of the characters in the episode, but we never really get to see it, which kind of sucks. I guess it goes down to what I said earlier about the budget. But yeah, I would definitely have loved to have seen more from the planet. It's one of those planets that sound very interesting, and I would also like to know more about the Tythonians' homeworld. I would be interested to seeing the Tythonians pop back up again. Which brings me to one of the episode's biggest flaws, which is the design of Erato the Tythonian. Yeah, that was a weird choice. Very weird They made some questionable design choices when making this alien creature. First of all, love the idea that he can only communicate with the communicator thing. I mean, that's creative. That's imaginative. I like that. You can only communicate with someone holds the big knob on the communicator plate thing. And I guess it also works remotely because they put the thing on the TARDIS and have the K9 use it from there. So yeah, very cool idea. But why, oh why, does it look like this? And more importantly, why does it have these weird appendages? And the Doctor does some strange stuff with one of those appendages. I I get that he was trying to find a way to communicate. That's, the character on paper, but practically on set, what the hell were they thinking when doing that, when filming that part? So yeah, a lot of questionable choices and a very unfortunate design for a character, but that doesn't really take away from the rest of the production design of the episode. I think the uh, Lady Adrasta's throne room looks incredible with all the trinkets and all the tools and whatnot. The costumes for the guards look really cool. I always talked about the huntsman. I think the huntsman had some really cool gear and attire, and I love the fact that the Lady Adrasta's face basically kind of has this metallic covering around her face, which only just shows you how much she's in control of all the metal on the planet. That just shows you this woman runs the metal monopoly on the planet, which I think was a really nice touch on her character. But other than that, I think I love the relationship between Romana and K9, and obviously jumping ahead a few episodes to the next season, I should say, Romana and K9 basically leave the TARDIS together, sort of, and they become really good friends going forward. And Romana then becomes president of Gallifrey, and K9 kind of becomes her right hand man or dog or whatever. But yeah, so I really, really love their growing relationship. Just like I appreciated how the Doctor warmed up to K9 all throughout his first season in the TARDIS, K9 that is. I love how the differences between how the first Romana responded to K9 at first and how she eventually grew to tolerate him, and then this Romana really, really likes K9. Even going to having that response when she thinks he was killed by the wolfweeds. So yeah, I love the relationship between these two characters, and I also really love the way Romana carries herself in this episode and how she escapes from the bandits. I mean, she as opposed, I know I complained about how she carried herself when she was captured by the Daleks in Destiny of the Daleks. So to go from that to how she just, for lack of a better word, dominates all the male bandits in that group, I think is a nice change. Now, obviously, There's something to be said about comparing these uh, essentially barbaric primitives to the Daleks. So yeah, there's a huge difference there, but I do really think it's a great character progression for Romana, this incarnation in particular. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the doctor's just being the doctor, doing his thing, realizing that the thing was an egg, or at least what he considered to be an egg, and he noticed certain things that nobody else did. But for the most part, like I said, it's a meh episode. I always say that the Fourth Doctor has some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. This episode is in a strange position where it's okay. It's just okay, and nothing more and nothing less. But yeah, and we're going to continue with this trend of mediocrity with some of the next few episodes, and boy, oh boy, I cannot wait for those. So, yeah, these are my thoughts on The Creature from the Pit. Let me know what you think about it. And, yeah, don't go. How can I say this? If you ever meet a giant green blob of a creature, don't try to communicate by putting some of its weird looking appendages in your mouth. There was no way that sentence was going to sound good, but I said it anyways. Goodbye, everybody. Have a nice one. Hello again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment. See you next time.